So we went through anti-spam, anti-malware, safe attachments, safe links. The next one is anti-phishing. Anti-phishing is a nice option that we can also implement in Exchange or Microsoft 365. The idea behind anti-phishing is that you can create a policy. However, the way that Microsoft does anti-phishing, it's also machine learning AI to sort of understand how to understand what people typically get when it comes to emails and so on. So let's say I want to protect alexyoung.com, the email domain. Then we have a couple of options. So we have different ways to go and say, hey, when we think about phishing, there's a couple of things happening. One of them is that we see some impersonation of emails, right? Hey, this is an email from your boss, send money to the Cayman Islands, please. And then the financial officer is going to do this, of course, because, well, Cayman Islands, who wouldn't trust that, right? So that's something we can do. So impersonation, domain spoofing, like, hey, we can think that this email originates from a domain we trust, but we shouldn't, maybe. So what we have here is the anti-phishing thresholds, basically going, and what we see here, and that is where anti-phishing, what we see is anti-phishing is a AI and a machine learning solution. And basically, we're going to tell, like, hey, how sensitive are we when it comes to phishing? So how aggressive are we going to say that phishing could be phishing? Of course, because it's a computer having to make the decision, this might result, just as with spam as well and malware, it could result into getting false positives and false negatives. Right? So one of the things that but you could go and say, hey, you know what? I can go and say, hey, what type of aggressiveness do we want to implement here, right? So the most aggressive or somewhere, in the middle. Typically what we see if we create policies like this, you want to create a policy first, and then you are going to monitor the email. So you could go and go say, you could go say, hey, I'm gonna make this a very aggressive system. Then what we can do next to this, if we monitor the quarantine folders and say, hey, there's a lot of documents there that or a lot of emails that should have allowed passed through, but were blocked because of a policy, we could then change it to maybe make it a little bit less aggressive to go and see how it behaves then. If we still see a lot of messages being falsely identified as fish, we can then make it a little bit less aggressive. But at one point, well, you could look at it like that. That is so. This is one part of the policy, the machine learning aggressiveness. The problem is we can never predict what this in the end will turn out to be like because it's machine learning, right? And well, there's one thing that we know about machine learning is that we don't know how it works. That is the cool part about machine learning. It works, but we just don't know how it works. So then other things that we can configure is that we in my organization you can see that apparently 0 impersonation emails were detected in the last 7 days, so that is fine, right? But still, we may want to protect users against impersonation. And here we have an option, and this is quite cool. We can enable users to protect up to 350 users. We can then, so we can apply this. We can go in and say, okay, who are we going to add in this list? So I can go and say, maybe I have a user called Alex de Jong, and I can send up an email address like this, add it, and now this is going to be a user that I'm going to enable extra protection when it comes to impersonation. And here it says, maybe you want to look at the most important users in your organization, or let's say the priority users in your organization, people that have access to large amounts of money, people that have access to very sensitive information, people that have a C in there, a C in their title, that would help. Maybe people in the HR department as well, just like that, right? You can also do this for domains. So you can, hey, I'm gonna add domains, custom domains. So here we can go in and say, hey, just add any domain that you want to be sort of monitoring more thoroughly. Now, this is something, there is a limit in this case up to 350 users, because if we implement this in my organization, as you could see, if I look at, if I'm adding users, it will actually, well, basically it will check my local, it will suggest contexts like these. And one of the things that it will do, it will actually also monitor how this user is behaving in email. So machine learning is going to go into the email data mailboxes and everything, and it will just look at who am I sending emails to and who am I getting emails from. Yeah, it will check the email address. Yeah, so it will check basically the delivery of the email. And if you then also add mailbox intelligence, it will even will monitor, this is super cool, it will determine users' email patterns with their frequent contacts to identify potential impersonation attempts. So for example, if I am sending an email to my CFO and I send this email and I always end my email with cheers, and one time I'm sending an email without cheers, then it might be impersonation, right? So it might be want to do extra here. So mailbox intelligence for potential impersonation attempts, and enable intelligence for impersonation protection, enhanced impersonation results based on each user's individual sender map, and allows you to define specific actions on impersonated. So in my case, in my organization, I do not have a lot of impersonation emails, 0, that we recognized. So if I'm enabling all this stuff, doesn't really matter for now. But also we have spoof. So I did get 14 spoofed emails detected in the last 7 days. So let's click that link, open up the Explorer again, and see if we can find those spoofed emails. So here we have a spoof intelligence insight view, super cool. And here we can see all kinds of email. It actually has, let's see, it's so we have like the sending infrastructure here shown. Message count, last seen, it's external. We did block it. So we did get to see this. Dutch passion. I'm not sure what that is, but it might be a dating kind of thing, I would say. So why did we catch this? There's actually an explanation here. That this top domains may be suspicious. Review each domain pair for false positives and allow, or what do you need to do? Review the domain summary, external who data about the domain, examine the similar emails, anomalies, and so on. Apparently, this is something that we shouldn't trust. Dutch passion. Oh, no, that's my face, but that's similar emails. So we can monitor that. Well, if we think, okay, this is something we want to enable, well, here we can enable into policy spoof intelligence. Choose whether you want to filter email senders or spoofing domains to control which senders are allowed to spoof or not. So like this. It says spoofing. Spoofing, trying to use your address. Well, spoofing, you could look into this. Like I could try to spoof you. So I would try to send an email to him with your address. What was those domain on the side of the page we saw there? If they say like, hey, this email is, for example, sent to you by someone in my organization, looks like it's sent from my organization, but actually it's something else. That would be the spoofing part of that, right? Enabled everything. Well, yeah, at outlook.com. But is it? Yeah, it's interesting. Mm-mm. This looks like it coming from that person. And I guess you added that person in the enable users to protect. Mm-mm. Hmm. Like here, include domains I own, include custom domains, view my domains. Or okay, don't need to view my domains. I know my domains. Okay. Well, the problem is you have false positives, you have false negatives, right? That's yeah. But as you, if you let's say snitch on emails, right? Users can also report emails. That will actually be, you are able to report this to Microsoft, and they might be able to update the spoofing algorithm for it. Yeah, yeah, you should do that. Of course, yeah, 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 yeah. Really? Well, that's man. Sometimes I look at these television shows about where people are being well tricked into paying money in different ways. Sometimes it looks like it's so easy, right? So if you want to be rich, you can sort of try that, right? Send this. Yeah. See, there's always people that do it. Yeah. 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 Well, luckily in the Netherlands, we don't care about neighbors. No, but I know what you mean, right? Actually, my girlfriend's father was when my girlfriend was talking to her mother, and then the mother told my girlfriend, yeah, 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 your dad is now working on the money he's sending you. I was like, what? She asked like, I didn't ask for money. Oh, he's about to send you money. I didn't ask for any. All right, then maybe stop doing that. It was just in time, right? That's because my phone number changed because I lost my phone. Can you send some money? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah. People are fooled easily, right? The best stories are about people that actually think that they are dealing with like the famous, like the guy who plays Thor. There is this Dutch television program, and there was this one woman, and she via Facebook got into contact with Chris Hemsworth, Thor. The sort of I'm not into guys, but I think he is probably the hottest guy you can think of, right? So at least to my girlfriend says he's one of the hottest guys you can think of. And then there's this woman in the Netherlands, like this household woman, and she via Facebook connects to him, and they started dating via Facebook. Uh-huh. And then he's asking for money because he got stuck in Australia. Uh-huh. And she's sending money, but she didn't send like a little bit. She sent like $300,000. She actually loaned money from her parents to send money to him. And then Well, all of a sudden, for some reason, they now, oh, it's not real. You think? It's like some people. Well, anyway. So if we have phishing email,
Or our organization, we have like monthly campaigns about this, how to people are always.
yeah, yeah. Actually, what you should do is you should start toward educating your kids. For example, it's actually quite interesting. When your kids are young and they go out to play, you can you say, hey, watch out for the traffic, right? If you cross the street, look right, look left, look right again, which by the way messes you up when you're in London
Yeah.
because you look right and you're going and they hit you from the left or so. That's weird country. Then it's so that is so. But if you look at that, so we explain children, hey, don't accept any money or candies from strangers. Don't go with people. Don't But but when they are 3 years old, we put an iPad in their hands and they say, go have fun. So we don't tell them anything.
But when I talk about what we do at work, it's more about the thing that is coming along. What was last when we about Dropbox and too much things coming into it. So it's more about being aware of what is happening now.
Yeah.
The Dropbox sharing. So that is a big thing. They send the phishing mail in the Dropbox
Hmm.
document, but in the document that is tagged as a phishing site.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Will not be detected because it's the sharing.
Well, there is now, if you can enable that safe link technology in Microsoft 365 apps, which would also be in Word, right? So that would
Yeah.
that would be an extra, but still, yeah, you have to enable it first, of course. You have to have a license for it. Yeah.
Because
Hey,
you can't really like well collection of young and old people. It's more about give them what is happening now
yeah,
at the moment, so you don't overwhelm them with information about it. But the expectation to be skeptical.
yeah. Well, that is it. You need to tell people, be skeptical, don't trust things that you didn't ask for, right? Yeah. Hey, if emails are marked as fish, then what, right? So if we detect user impersonation, we can apply different actions. Quarantine the message, detect the message before, delete it, redirect it, move it to the junk mail folder, right? That would be an option. Basically, when it comes, we have the same kind of activities based on what kind of things that we are looking at. So we can implement, we have the demark option here as well. So if we see this as spoofing, honor that record policy. Then we have, what do we do then in that case? Again, quarantine message or the user mail, junk mails folder. As you can see, we have all kinds of activities. Also, we can show the users some tips. So we can go and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna create those tips. Want to show first contact safety tip. It's interesting. Users will get a message. Hey, this is the first time you receive an email from this person. Hmm? Impersonation, domain impersonation, unusual characters, safety tip. Show for authenticated senders for spoof. Show via tag if we found something in an email that, right?
That's the tricky bit when we're working with demarking.
Yeah. So we do have those tips for the end users, and that is what we can do when it comes to an anti-phishing policy. I recognize that if I use my preset policies, I'm gonna I'm gonna enable back the strict protection again. Um, to be honest, I do have a couple of false positives, which means that sometimes I do not get an email, and the problem with about not getting an email is you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know if you're not getting an email, if you should have supposed to get one. So in my case, what I need to do is every now and then I go into my review feature, and in review I just go into quarantine here, and I have to check out my quarantine here. So I can go and say, hey, what kind of email files or Teams messages have been quarantined for me? And I have to go and check it out and see if I need to release any of those messages. But quite frankly, most of the messages here are all right, right? So it's indeed a message that I would not want. But on the other hand, sometimes also I have messages here that this is the last month. It's not that many, I think. Not that I got 100 items, right? So no, but yeah, this allows us to at least go in and check it out. For example, this one would be one that I would like to go and release. So I can take this, release the message, go. This is what I do every now and then, right? Otherwise, yeah, that is one thing I could do. The interesting thing is, because of this policy, I never get junk mail anymore in my mailbox because everything is going to be quarantined because that is one of the results of that strict policy. So that's what you get to see. Other things, when we go back to the policies and rules here. So we have those policies here. Other things, the quarantine policies themselves, like, hey, what if we do quarantine? So here we have a couple of those quarantine settings, which we can go in and let's see, and we can select one. Let's say we have the default full access policy. We cannot change it. This sucks. The admin policy, no options to edit. The first one here, however, gets me an edit function. And it says, okay, what are we going to tell, right? What are we going to tell the recipient message access? Limited or specific, and then we can go and say, hey, do you want to allow recipients to release the message from quarantine, or do we need to request? And then an admin has to sort of go over this. And the options that we have. The user could also go in and say, hey, I want to allow the sender because that is something, this sender is trusted, so I don't want this to be quarantined the next time. Like this, quarantine notification, do you want to don't include in quarantine messages from blocked senders, or do you want to include those in the quarantine notification, which is an email that you can have sent daily if you want to. So the users can go and see this. We can also create our custom quarantine policies, basically the same settings that we have here. So it's just a few settings though, but it's here. Other things is advanced delivery. One of the things is that we can set up a security operations mailbox. The SecOps mailbox, which just could be any mailbox you want to create a special mailbox for this. The security operations mailbox is the mailbox that a SOC team is getting messages into. So basically what we do is we can specify a dedicated mailbox to collect and analyze unfiltered messages. So what we can do is set this up, add a mailbox, and then whenever we have a message that says, hey, you know what, check, get the mail checked by someone, that is going to be the mailbox. Phishing simulation options. We can configure IP addresses, sender domains, and URLs that are used as part of your phishing simulation email. So emails are unfiltered if they come from this. Oh, failed to load. Maybe let's try once more. In my case, I can just add this. I can add domains, IP addresses, or URLs that I'm gonna sort of allow. If you are using a third-party phishing testing tool, attack simulators, then well, obviously it would suck if Microsoft would block this, right? So that's why we have this. Microsoft also, if you have E5 licenses, also has its own attack simulation training functionality. Have you checked this? Yeah, it's kind of cool, right? You can create a simulation and you can have your users checked. Um, you can assign training to this. There's some reporting. You can even create your own payloads, right? You can create your own trap for your users and then monitor. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I was at the bank. They had this as well. Oh, cool. But now people know about this. So in October we are more. Uh, yeah, some people will just. But that there's this one more thing that I find very interesting. If you hire a truck driver, hmm, what do you check when you hire a truck driver? You check the driver's license, right? If you hire somebody to be a construction worker, right, you're going to check the diplomas if he's able to build a building, right? That's what you do. Now you hire somebody to work with your organizational data on a computer, and we don't care, right? I don't get that, you know. I want my users to know how to deal with computers before they're allowed to touch the computers. You would say, but no, it just takes a long time. Right? But this is quite nice here. With this, we can actually go in and we can go in and we can test our users if they are able to find spam here. Now, one more setting on this side. So if I go here, we have advanced delivery, enhanced filtering for exchange online protection, where we can go in and say, hey, maybe I want to automatically, enable enhanced filtering. Can either detect the IP addresses or you can define the list of IP addresses you want to skip. So basically with enhanced filtering, if we just automatically and detect and skip the last IP address for an organization to speed things up, you can go say, hey, if we have allowed a certain sender once, then we don't want to check that sender anytime soon, right? So then that saves a lot of time in this case. And there was the quarantine policies. We checked those out. So that basically shows the entire system from this end. The configuration analyzer is actually also a nice thing that you might want to be looking into, because the configuration analyzer comes with recommendations, what we can do in order to get to a higher level of security. Right, so here we see a couple of options we may want to change. Like, hey, when it comes to change false to true, which is apparently something I want to do, I can open it up. So change the first contact safety tips from false to true. Like apparently I did that and didn't enable that. So I can go and check it out what I need to do here. And this is one thing, we can select it. You can also, in some case, just apply the recommendation like this. So if you think, hey, there's a recommendation here, click apply. Do you want to do it? Yes. And it will then apply the recommendation. Next time we check, this recommendation is gone. The lower the number of recommendations, the better you have done your job here. Now, not all of these recommendations automatically could be applied like this. Because in this case, if I want to apply this change, I will actually click OK, and this will take me to the location in the environment where I have to make that change. So one of the things that I definitely recommend is going to that to the configuration analyzer, see what you can do in your organization to elevate security to a little bit higher level. In my case, I like the preset security policies a lot. I like the configuration analyzer to get through the latest extra security steps that I want to take. And I would say in most organizations, this would be pretty much all right in order to set it up like that. Well, that is the this is what Microsoft Defender for Office can do.